Well, good morning, guys. And today I am pretty excited. Today is the day that I start my intensive physio on my shoulder, and I can start getting back to some form of normal lifestyle. I'll be seeing the physio this evening. He hopefully will approve my plan to get back to some level of fitness. And in preparation for that, because I don't see any issues, I'm going to be setting up my bicycle in my garage today to get ready to Zwift. Now, for those of you that don't know what Zwift is, it's a phenomenon that's been sweeping the cycling community for over the last year. It's basically a fun way to ride your bike on a trainer in your garage or in your front room or wherever you want. So basically, a cycle trainer is a way for cyclists to keep fit during the winter months when they can't get out on the roads. But it is the most boring thing in the world. You put a pair of headphones on and you cycle and you don't go anywhere. Zwift brings a whole new element to that. Zwift lets you put a TV screen or a small screen, whatever you want, in front of your bike. You connect the sensors to the bike to your laptop, and you effectively run a game, is the only way to describe it. It's a 3D world where other cyclists from around the world, you can join them, you can talk with them, you can communicate with them, you can race them, you can go on long distance cycling tours with them around this virtual world. It's just a great way to interact, a great way to get fit, but also a great way to not get bored when you're trying to push out the miles on the bike. Now, one of the reasons I'm going to set it up is obviously over the last 3 months, I haven't been able to do any physical activity whatsoever. My level of cardio fitness has dropped off completely. And having the bike is a great way to get my heart beating and really sort of push myself, but do it in a controlled way. And then if it does start to hurt, I do start to get pain in my shoulder, that I can stop and I'm back at home. I'm not 20 miles away on the road thinking I've got to get home and this is going to be done in pain. So today we're setting up for Zwift. So last night I took the opportunity to go out and walk after dark because there was quite a spectacular full moon, and I took my my Sony camera with me. And this camera, this is by the way, this is a Sony. I get the numbering right. It is a Sony DSC HX400V. Now this is, some people call these bridge cameras, some people call these super zoom cameras. But this, I think, is the perfect introduction to a grown-up camera for most people. Now, I'm not a photographer. I've never really owned anything more than a point and shoot or an iPhone camera. But this camera was recommended to me by a friend for one reason. It has the most phenomenal zoom. But last night when I was out, I was playing with some of the settings on it, and it has an enormous number of settings. And one of the things it allows you to do is to fully take control, take over the exposure, the iris and everything else. And I took some photographs of the moon. Now, the photo that you're going to see in a moment was taken handheld in almost pitch dark, the only light obviously being from the moon. And I have seen worse photographs taken through telescopes. It really is phenomenal. If you look at the top edge of the image, you can actually see where it's not quite a full moon. You can actually see the detail in the moon. So for anyone that doesn't want the power of a DSLR camera, then I can highly recommend these bridge cameras, and specifically this Sony one is just phenomenal. In fact, there's probably a newer version now because this one's a couple of years old. So the first thing we need to do to get the bike ready for Zwift is to change the rear tyre. So the bike is currently fitted out with a road tyre, and the turbo trainer that I use will chew through road tyres pretty quickly. So I have a wheel specially fitted with a special trainer tyre. It's a different consistency of rubber, and it's designed to take the extra heat and friction from the trainer. You just have to be careful that you don't leave that particular wheel on when you go out on the road because it has absolutely no grip. So really simple to get the rear wheel off, quick release. So all we're going to do to get the wheel off is take the tension, lift the wheel, and it comes off very simply. Now, for the home trainer wheel. So we can see here it's very clearly marked, and the tread on this is very different. This is not designed to go on the road. So we will make sure this is lined up. We will lift the chain, slot everything into place. Lift the derailleur, and there we go. We're in. A quick spin, just to make sure nothing's rubbing. That all looks good. So the next job is to re-inflate it. There we are, 100 psi. So this is the bike all set up on the turbo trainer. Now there's not a lot of room in my garage, but you can see here the back wheel is sitting on the turbo trainer. This is what's called a fluid trainer. This is one of the simplest trainers to use because there's no controls. Basically, the faster you go, the more resistance this will generate. And as you can probably see by this large heatsink here, all of the energy is then turned into heat from the fluid inside it and is dissipated by this large heatsink. If you do get one of these, the one thing I would recommend is you don't touch this after you've been cycling because it gets very, very hot. But again, as I say, there's no other controls. You just get on the bike and you ride. One thing you'll need before you sort of fire up the application is you need a way to link your bike to the application. And that's done using this little thing. This is an Ant Plus sensor. This is what the cadence sensor, and if you have a power meter and other things on your bike, will connect to using the Ant Plus protocol. This goes into a little USB adapter, and I just use this extension. Now you could just plug it straight into the laptop. At this distance it should just work, but sometimes with other things interfering, I like to get it a little closer to the bike. So this little extension lead just goes down on the floor and make sure that this is within a meter or two of the cadence sensor. Then plug it into your laptop into the big screen, and run the application. So this is Zwift. This is the demo mode where you can just watch what's going on in the world. But every single one of these riders you see is a real person who's currently on their bike, on the trainer, pushing out the miles. You can give credit to people. You can say, so, well done. You can see they're all going up a slight gradient. And you can also see things like leaderboards, who's the fastest in time trials. There's so many different things you can do, and it makes cycling during the winter just so much more fun. I'm dying to get back on the bike, but I've got to get the doctor's approval first. Okay, so this whole vlog thing is pretty new to me. There's a couple of things that I've been working on just to try and make it feel a little bit better, a little bit more professional. I think with me in it, it's unlikely to be professional at any point in time. But I've been working on a new sort of intro sequence using some stock footage and some other bits and pieces, and I want to sort of get everybody's feeling for it. So if you like it, please tell me. If you don't like it, please tell me why. I think it looks kind of cool, but I'll be interested in your feedback. Thanks. Okay, one other thing for today. Something small that entered my life yesterday that's made such a difference to solving things. And for tech guys out there, I can't highly recommend mini Ethernet cables. These tiny little 20 centimeter Ethernet cables have solved all sorts of cabling problems for me in the last 24 hours, where I've stuffed cables behind TV screens and things where I need to patch two or three things into a switch. Well, these cost £1.20 on Amazon. I bought loads of them just because they help tidy things up. They mean that cables don't get wrapped around each other, and when you need to come and troubleshoot it like I did the other day, you end up having to pull everything out. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of these before, but these are great.